Hello everyone, and welcome to another Iceborne video. This is Thegameconomist. We're going to be talking about the Flinch Shot. Oh my god, the Flinch Shot is arguably the most important combat technique, new combat technique that we got with Iceborne. Okay, so we've got the Clutch Claw. You grab onto the monster with the Clutch Claw and you can weaken spots. That's also really important, right? Because it gives you weakness exploit 50%, gives you more damage on that part, presumably because you've changed the hit zone values for that monster part. Flinch Shot. This is different, but it also uses the Clutch Claw. You grab onto the monster's head, and then you push right trigger, and all of your ammo comes out, all of your slinger ammo, and this drives the monster forward. If the monster was facing a wall, it hits that wall and falls over, and you get a knockdown. It's basically like being able to drop a boulder on a monster. They're basically the same thing. We all know how powerful boulder drops are. They're a big deal, right? Well, Flinch Shot is like if you could drop probably 4 boulders per fight, and that's just the Flinch Shot. If there's actual boulders in the fight, you could do Flinch Shot, Flinch Shot, Flinch Shot, Flinch Shot, boulder drop, boulder drop. Okay, absolutely nuts. So if you've been feeling a little bit like the Iceborne monsters are, maybe they're a bit spongier, I think they are. I think the developers added Flinch Shot and they realized, oh my gosh, if we don't give these monsters more health, they're going to be too easy to defeat because we've added this new combat technique that is pretty much the equivalent of dropping boulders. Alright, so why don't we talk a little bit about how to Flinch Shot. This is such an important combat technique, it's getting its own video, guys. I don't do that for everything. It's so important it's getting its own video. So I really want you guys to understand how this works, and I want you all to be using this combat technique as often as you can when you fight. It's so important that now when I go into a fight, the very first thing I'm thinking about is how soon can I get this out? How soon can I get a Flinch Shot, and how many can I get? Okay, so I want you guys to be in the same mindset. Let's talk about how it works now. The nice thing about learning Flinch Shot is it's really not a complicated combat technique. I already mostly explained it. You grab onto the monster's head, you got slinger pods, you have to have them. Okay, so when you land at camp or whatever, there's usually something nearby, just grab it. Doesn't really matter what you grab, they're all pretty good. Okay, so you got your slinger pods, you grab onto the monster's head, right trigger, the monster is going to push forward. If he was flying, he'll actually just crash out of the air and you're good. Okay, so Flinch Shot's really effective if the monster's flying. But if they're on the ground, if they're like standing, you gotta kind of face them toward a wall. Can you actually turn them? You absolutely can. So you can test this for yourself. Grab onto the monster, and then on the Xbox controller, you actually push B. On the PlayStation controller, you push circle. Okay, and it's like, I think it's called like claw attack or something like that. When you push this, the monster is going to turn at a 90-degree angle. It's kind of like pushing them in the direction that you want. Okay, so you're turning them toward the wall, and then you fire, right? You push your right trigger, they'll run into the wall. Be careful not to hit the wrong button. Sometimes you hit the button to weaken them rather than to fire all your slinger pods. That's just something you gotta practice. You know, your brain will confuse the buttons the first few times you do it. Get that practice in. You can even practice in the training room. Did you know that? So get your practice in the training room if you want. Practice on the monsters. Here's what's so crazy about running that monster into that wall and getting all that damage and getting the knockdown too. You know when a monster gets knocked down and 3 of your teammates come out with that great sword, you know they're all going to be using true charge slash on the monster's head, whatever the case. They're going to get like another 1,000 damage each probably. And you're going to run and pick up more pods. You know why? Because when the monster stands up, a lot of the time you're able to do it right over again. You're able to get another Flinch Shot on the monster. But this time, you're not able to push the monster as many times. It's kind of this strange thing. It seems that when you use the claw attack, you know, when you turn the monster at an angle, you have a limited number of times you can do this. So on the first Flinch Shot, if you didn't turn them very much, it seems the second time you have a little bit of leeway. You can actually smack them once. So on the second grab, you can turn them once, 90 degrees, and then Flinch Shot them right away. You gotta do this very fast because the monster is going to become enraged. And when the monster becomes enraged, Flinch Shot no longer works. Okay, so that's the whole secret to it. Flinch Shot number 1, Flinch Shot number 2, which is a little more difficult because you can't turn the monster as much. Sometimes you can't turn them at all. And then, yeah, you get 2 knockdowns. It's kind of like dropping a boulder twice on them. The craziest part, when the enragement ends, you just do it all over again. Why don't we talk a little bit about how to detect enragement in a monster? Go to your minimap, just look at your minimap. If this little icon down here is yellow, they are not enraged, and you can use Flinch Shot on them. But when it turns red, they're now enraged, and you're not going to be able to Flinch Shot, so you're going to have to wait. I've been running experiments with like exhaust ammo and Elder Seal, and yeah, I can't figure out exactly how to consistently knock them out of enragement early. I saw a fight where we were fighting the Zen Ogre, and he got all powered up, somebody with the dual blades got an Elder Seal on him, and then he just dropped right out of enragement. So it could even be the case that maybe Elder Seal will allow you to end the enragement earlier and go right into those flinch shots again. Just free knockdowns for everyone. Knockdowns and damage. Not to mention, even when you're turning the monster 90 degrees, the monster's not attacking when you do that. It's so amazing. It's just like this long delay that you can have on a monster. It's really powerful. It's almost definitely why the monsters feel spongier in Iceborne. It's because the developers know. They just know that the monsters, you have more techniques, you got more tools. The monsters have more health, but you have more tools for defeating those monsters. And don't forget, of course, bring your traps and your trank bombs so you can capture them too. That'll save you a little bit of time too. That's just a little bonus tip for players who are really new to the game, right? Alright, so when the monster's in the air, by the way, if you just flinch shot them in the air, they appear to just hit the ground. I have had a flying monster where I flinch shotted them and they didn't just hit the ground. Like, they dipped, but they didn't manage to hit the ground. The ground was a little bit further away for them in particular. I don't know if you guys have ever witnessed that yourselves, so let me know. But generally it does not happen. Generally they just fall right out of the sky and take a bunch of damage when they land. The other thing that I've tried is I've tried using a dung pod on a monster, because when a monster leaves an area, it shows their enragement sign turns yellow and they're no longer enraged. And so after I've dung podded the monster, I take the pods off to reveal my slinger ammo beneath it. I clutch claw onto the monster as it's leaving the area, and then I attempt to get another flinch shot in. This worked one time. I suspect it might have been the case that the monster was done being enraged anyways, because I tested it again on the same monster. It didn't work the second time. So I don't know, maybe it works once, I don't know. There's all kinds of experimentation that needs to be done. Feel free to share all the tips that you guys have in the comment section for the experiments that you've ran and the things that you've learned. Flinch Shot is so strong, guys. It's just nuts. It's like flash pods before they were nerfed, except, I don't know, stronger than flash pods. Like I said, it's like dropping 2 boulders on a monster. What gets better than that? Nothing. Nothing stronger than that. Alright guys, well that is my guide for using the Flinch Shot. I hope it piqued your interest. I hope that you're going to go in and get good at using the Flinch Shot. You really should. It is the #1 thing I'm recommending that you get good at right now. So if you haven't mastered it, go master it. It will make Iceborne feel easier. I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.